My cheating wife said she was urgently called to work and left. But I was shocked when her boss called our home number and said, "Baby, hurry up. Daddy's already waiting for you." I immediately said, "What the hell, bastard? Why are you talking like that?" He was taken aback and then said, "Listen here, cuckold. I call her when I need her, and she agreed to it herself. There's a kind of pain you can't describe. It doesn't scream. It doesn't bleed. It just settles like ice in the pit of your stomach and never lets go." That was the moment I knew everything I believed in was a lie. The lie that started it all. It was supposed to be a quiet Friday night. My wife Natalie kissed me on the cheek and said she'd been called into an urgent meeting. She grabbed her work laptop, slipped into her blazer, and promised she'd be home before midnight. I nodded, trusting her completely, because that's what husbands do, right? Right. I made dinner for one, watched a rerun of The Office, waited up with a glass of wine. That's when the house phone rang. Unknown number. I picked it up without thinking. "Hello?" And then those words. "Baby, hurry up. Daddy's already waiting for you." I froze. Silence. "Excuse me?" I said slowly. There was a brief pause, a breath on the other end of the line, then laughter. Low, arrogant, unbothered. "Oh," the man chuckled. "You're the husband, huh?" My heart dropped. "Who the hell is this?" He didn't even blink. "Listen here, cuckold," he said, voice calm and cruel. "I call her when I need her, and she agreed to it herself. You're just the fool she keeps around for insurance." Click. He hung up. The collapse. I sat there, the dial tone buzzing in my ear, unable to move. Every memory I had of Natalie flashed through my mind. The late nights at work, the emergency conferences, the sudden coldness. It all made sense now. I had been loyal, devoted, blinded by love, and she? She had been playing house while screwing her boss behind my back. But I didn't break. I didn't cry. I did what any man would do when everything he built is turned into ash. I started planning. Betrayal doesn't just burn, it rewires your soul. I used to be a man who believed in trust, loyalty, and giving the benefit of the doubt. But now I was a man with a mission. Natalie wasn't just going to cheat and walk away smiling. She was going to regret every smug lie she ever told me, every touch she gave another man behind my back. And it started with one thing. The truth. I waited until Natalie got home. 1:17 a.m., hair slightly messy, blazer missing, perfume too strong like she had sprayed it on mid-ride. She smiled like nothing happened. "Sorry it ran late. You know how these clients can be." I nodded slowly. "All good. You hungry?" She blinked, caught off guard. "No, I grabbed something on the way." I smiled. Cool. And in that moment, she thought she was safe. She had no idea I already knew. I let her go to bed. I didn't ask any questions, didn't accuse her. I needed her to feel relaxed. The next morning, she left for work again. Same time, same routine. And that's when I started digging. I started with her phone. She had grown smug, too confident, never locked it anymore. She assumed I'd never even check. And she was half right. Until now, I found a hidden folder in her photo gallery. I found texts under a contact named Sophie DHR. Clever, but not clever enough. I opened the thread and found messages that made my blood boil. "Last night was amazing, Daddy. Can't wait for round 2. Wear that blue dress again. The one I like when you're on your knees." And then photos. Not even subtle ones. Her in hotel rooms, in lingerie, on his lap. This wasn't a fling. This was planned. His name was Alan Mercer. Married, mid-40s, CEO of the marketing firm where Natalie worked. I did a quick online search and found out more than I expected. Alan wasn't just a cheat. He was a snake with a history of mentorship affairs that his company covered up with hush money and NDAs. But the twist? His wife, Marilyn Mercer, was the co-owner of the company. The real power. She wasn't just the wife. She was the silent force behind the throne. And that gave me an idea. I created a burner email. No names, just evidence. Screenshots of the texts, location pings from Natalie's GPS that matched hotel check-ins. A video of her and Alan walking into a luxury suite last Tuesday, recorded via a friend who owed me a favor at the hotel security desk. And I sent it to Marilyn Mercer with one subject line. Your husband and my wife have been very busy. No message, just attachments. Within 6 hours, she replied, Meet me, I have a plan. I stared at the screen for a long time after reading her response. This wasn't just about getting revenge anymore. This was about justice. Alan and Natalie had built a little fantasy world on deception, power games, and lies. But now they were about to learn what real power looked like. Because Marilyn and I, we weren't just betrayed spouses. We were about to become their worst nightmare. Some people cheat because they think they'll never get caught. Others cheat because they think the person they're betraying will never fight back. What Natalie and Alan didn't know? They hadn't just betrayed their spouses. They had declared war. And now Marilyn and I were all in. We met at an upscale cafe downtown. Neutral ground. Marilyn Mercer walked in like she owned the city. Tall, composed, dressed in black from head to toe, like she was attending a funeral. Which, in a way, she was. The funeral of her husband's reputation. She sat down across from me, calm and sharp-eyed. No small talk, she said. Tell me what you want. I slid a folder across the table. Everything I have. She opened it. One glance at the contents, screenshots, location logs, time-stamped hotel records, and she exhaled slowly. I thought I'd buried this kind of scandal a decade ago, she muttered. Seems Alan's been digging it back up, I replied. She looked up at me. You want revenge? I want control back. That means we need to hit them where it hurts most. Publicly? I asked. She smirked. Worse. Professionally. Marilyn didn't waste time. Within 48 hours, she had a legal team reviewing Alan's misconduct for breach of executive ethics, HR opening an internal investigation, quietly gathering witness statements, frozen all his access to sensitive accounts pending inquiry. Alan didn't even know what was happening. At home, he thought it was just another day at the top. At work, his own company was preparing to pull the rug out from under him. Meanwhile, I had my own part to play. Natalie still believed she was clever, still thought I hadn't caught on. So I played the role, the trusting husband still in the dark. I brought her flowers. I asked about her day. I even pretended to be worried she was working too hard. Each time she smiled wider. Each lie she told made her feel smarter, and each smile from me meant I was one step closer to the end game. Because the more confident she became, the harder she was going to fall. By the end of the week, Alan's grip on the company was slipping. Board members started questioning decisions. Whispers of misconduct floated down the hallways. And then Marilyn dropped the hammer. A surprise board meeting was called early Monday morning. Alan wasn't invited. Natalie, however, she walked in that morning thinking it was business as usual. What she didn't know, she was about to walk into the fallout. Monday. Marilyn and I met in the lobby of the corporate headquarters. You sure about this? I asked. She nodded once. He lied to the wrong woman. We took the elevator to the top floor, and just before the board meeting began, Marilyn sent a single email. One video, 4 minutes of footage captured secretly from the hotel's hallway camera. Alan and Natalie wrapped around each other, walking into a room, time-stamped, branded with the company watermark. Undeniable. It went to the entire board, the internal ethics committee, every senior executive. Within minutes, phones started ringing. Alan's name started getting dragged through the mud. And Natalie, she watched it unfold from her desk, oblivious, until HR showed up at her cubicle. There's a moment in every revenge plan where silence does more damage than 1,000 words, where just watching your enemies panic is more satisfying than anything you could say. That moment had arrived. Natalie and Alan were standing in the ruins of their perfect little affair, and they didn't even realize how much more they had left to lose. Alan was summoned to the boardroom by 9:30 a.m. He walked in with his usual smug expression, confident, dominant, untouchable. And there waiting for him? The entire board, the legal team, Marilyn sitting at the head of the table. His eyes darted to her, confused. She didn't flinch. One of the directors slid a printed email toward him, attached the hallway footage. Alan froze. For the first time, the mask cracked. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered. Marilyn's voice was calm. "We're not." "You don't understand. This isn't what it looks like." "Really?" she cut in. "Because it looks like you're screwing a subordinate on company time in a hotel paid for by the company card. That's not just an affair, Alan. That's embezzlement, sexual misconduct, and breach of executive ethics." Alan sank into the chair. Just like that, his career was over. While Alan's empire burned, Natalie was busy facing her own storm. HR had already pulled her into a private meeting. But that wasn't the worst of it. Because when she returned to her desk, red-faced, panicked, muttering excuses, she saw me standing outside the office glass. Not storming in, not confronting, just smiling. I raised my hand in a slow, mocking wave, and then I turned my phone toward her. It was playing the voicemail from Alan, the one where he said, "Listen here, cuckold. I call her when I need her." Her face turned white. She bolted from her chair, but I was already gone. That night, Natalie came home to an empty house. I had moved out. My clothes gone, my personal files cleared. Her laptop left open playing the video from the boardroom. On the kitchen table was a thick manila envelope. Inside, divorce papers, evidence of her affair. A note that simply read, "You earned this." She called me, cried, begged, said she was confused, that it didn't mean anything. I didn't answer because I had blocked her from everywhere. I wasn't giving her closure. I was giving her silence. By the end of the week, Alan had been terminated with cause and stripped of all company shares. Marilyn had publicly announced the restructuring of leadership, and Alan's wife now owned the company. Marilyn filed for divorce the next day with all the leverage. And Alan? Alan was last seen moving into a cheap condo across town. Fired, dumped, and publicly disgraced. No car, no position, no reputation. Only the echoes of the power he once thought he owned. Natalie tried to rebuild her life. She moved in with her sister, got a job at a much smaller firm, and tried to pretend like she wasn't the punchline of every whispered conversation in our town. She'll never live it down. Alan? Nobody will touch him in the industry again. His name is poison, his reputation ruined. And me? I moved on. Peacefully, quietly. Because real revenge isn't rage. It's rising above. It's letting them rot in the chaos they created while you walk away clean, strong, and free. Natalie betrayed her vows. Alan abused his power. Now they both live in the shadows of their former lives, while Natalie's ex and Marilyn walk away victorious. Was this revenge justified, or did it go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your take. And if you love jaw-dropping pro-revenge stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash the like for more thrilling tales you won't want to miss. Every like, share, and subscription means the world to us. It helps us keep bringing you the stories you crave. Your support truly makes a difference. Thank you so much for being part of our community.